Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Welcome to the first Anything Goes Sunday. Anything Goes book Sunday. I've got a few of the books that I'm working on. I will be live streaming on Sundays. Hi, Linda. Hi, Cheshire Cat. I will be streaming on Sundays. It's funny, it says there's 0 people here. I will be streaming on Sundays. This is the first one, 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday for the Anything Goes book. We're doing some experiments and some play. Sorry, having some iced tea today. Hello, Anne and Muriel. I made my hand wet. It's cold iced tea, so it's sweating a little bit. Sweating just a tad. Get a little t-shirt out here. Hi, 70 Acres. Hi, everyone. Hello, hello. So I did some messing around with my computer and stuff, so let me know if you can hear me and see me, if everything's okay before I go any further. Let me know if its sound is too low or any of those things. Let me know now before I get too much further. So this is the Anything Goes book that I started doing some stuff in. And I am determined to fill up this book. Hello, Patricia. Hi, Dorothy. I'm determined. I'm determined to fill up this book. It's not going well. The pages are really thin. And they're bleeding through to the other side. And they're buckling and wrinkling, but it's okay. I just want to finish it up. So you're responding to me. Sound is good. Sound is good. You can see me. Yay. Happy dance. Happy dance. Happy dance. So this is, I'm probably gonna work in this one a bit today, just so I can finish it up and put it on the shelf and not worry about it. I still love this page. I love it. I love coming across it and feeling it. It's got some little bumps of the Inca gold on it. I can feel the ridges. Oh, yeah. Yep. I can do it. Yep. That's nice stuff. We might have to play with some more of that today. Here's another page that I did. We've got a bunch of things to do. I've got a lot on the list today, and I doubt we'll get through all of it. But then again, we've got next Sunday to do some more. There's a lot of blank pages in this book. Here's our circle stamp testing. Hi, Mitzi. Circle stamp testing. Here's our houses. Here's some more circles. Hi, Vicki. I see you're here. Hi, Stacy. Well, welcome to your first live stream. Hopefully you'll have some fun. Here's some, there was my voice. Excuse me. Uh-oh. Can't have that. It's been really dark here today. It's been raining. It was so dark I didn't get up this morning because I thought it was still night. Oh, I need that, and I need to stop that. So this is some of the things that we've done so far, just messed around in here. Glad you're here, Stacy. Hope you have some fun. Here's one that we can start on today while I'm waiting for people to get in. Kind of saying hi to everybody. Hi, Penny. I like to say hi to people. Just a quick look at, hi, Sherry, at the other Anything Goes books I've got going on. This one is a little blank book that I got at Borders before they closed. And the pages are really thin again. They go through, it goes through. So this is the perfect kind of thing for a Anything Goes experiment book. Don't have to worry too much about ruining it. I've got some little things glued in here and there, just little bits. And that's what I would suggest for those of you just starting out your Anything Goes books. Just go through and randomly glue in some magazine images that strike your fancy, some book pages, some anything else. Just randomly put some stuff in there, and it'll be a good place to put some things on top of. Here's, I did a little bit of stenciling with some ink gold. Look at the shine and shimmer on that. Vicki sent me some colors I was missing. The gold and the copper. Happy dance. Happy dance. Hi, Vicki S. Hi, Kylie Koo. So we were testing out the colors, making sure they were pretty, as if there could be any unpretty Inca golds, right? Haha, look at how shiny and pretty that is. Triangles. Hi, Emma. And so that's what I suggest. Grab a book. Here's some experiments with that fun foam that I got at the Dollar Tree. Ooh, 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 ooh. Some really cool, interesting colors. So that's what I suggest to start. Just putting some music pages or maybe some printouts that you have, or some magazine images, some book pages. And then you can put, here's a book page that was in there. And then you can start making your little experiments and doing some fun stuff on top. And it just adds interest and layers and fun to the pages as you work. See, this is really thin paper because it bled through. I'm not concerned. I just want you to be aware you might want to consider the kind of paper that your book has. I don't want you to be disappointed in the way your book turns out in the beginning, because you'll get discouraged and you won't want to continue on. So just pay attention to that kind of thing. And here's one of mine that I don't necessarily do on the stream. It's my personal one that I do things in when I get a minute or two. And I don't have very many minutes or two for my own book. So there's not a whole lot here. So a little bit, but not a whole lot. There's that lion. I like the lion. So here's something else. Yep. Here's a little collage with stencils and different pink ink pads, and then a couple pieces of magazine images, and then I put some washi tape on. Of course, the page is not finished yet, but I don't like to start a page and just go from start to finish. I like to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, go to another page. Oh, there's something else. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Add something else. Add some more book pages. Go to a different page. Add some paint. Go to a different page. Do something else. I don't start a page, and here's another one. I don't start a page and expect to finish it start to finish. And the reason I don't do that is because when I think I'm going to make an art journal page, I always have some kind of something in my mind how I want it to look at the end. I have an expectation. I have something in my mind. I want it to be like that. That is so cool. I can see it in my mind. And so I start working for it, and start doing what I think I see in my mind. But what is in my mind never ends up on the page. So I have learned that if I just do a little bit of this and a little bit of that with no expectations of what I think it should look like at the end, I am much happier with what I end up with at the end in the long run, because it's a surprise and I didn't know that's what I wanted it to look like, but I can learn to like what I have. I like it so much better, so much better. And how do you say your name? Kiala? 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 Is that right? So that's what I would suggest. Not trying to start a page from start to finish. And that's the basic principle of the whole Anything Goes book. Do a little bit of here and then wait. Perfect? Kiala? Wow. I must have heard Shelley say it or something, right? So that's the basis of the Anything Goes book. It is a place to do the experiments. And I've got a list here. Experiments, it's a place to list things that you want to try. It's a place for doing learning techniques. It's a place for warming up for your regular art journal. If you warm up and you know what you're going to do, then you know what you're going to do in your art journal. So it's a warm-up kind of place. It is a place just to learn to enjoy the process. Find something that you enjoy doing and practice. Practice doing it and just have fun doing it. Hi, Sandy. So that's what it is. It's trying out our materials. It's reminding ourselves of some of the things that we need to start using. And it's for ideas and notes. It's a reference. If you want to write down what color ink pad you used here, or I think we used Intense, the ink blocks on this, I should write a note. This is what I used, and this is the color that it was. So ideas, notes, lists of things that you want to do, techniques that you want to try, color combinations. It's for everything. It's for everything. And that's why it's an Anything Goes book, because it is for anything, everything. Hi, Yvonne. Talking about the kind of paper that these books are made of. Like I showed you, these papers are really thin, and this is a blank book. The paper is really thin. This is a composition book. Paper is really thin. You could pay a little bit more and get a nice book, but you're running into, you might be a little bit, you might not want to mess up a book that you've paid good money for. So you'd be a little less, you'll be more cautious with a store-bound book. So I have done a few signatures of some different papers. I've got 5 signatures here. And for those signatures, I think I used regular copy paper, some scrapbook paper. I used some sketching paper, some mixed media paper. I think I've got, this is watercolor paper, some, I think it's called drawing paper, mixed media paper. I've got some watercolor papers in here, some different types of papers. And if I was smart, I would write in pencil what pad I got them off and what kind of weight it is and what it is, so that when I start doing my experiments on here, I know if I like this one or this one better. And it would give me some idea of what to make my signatures out of in the future. So that's all this is. I guess I did start a little bit of this, doing a little bit of gluing in of some stuff. Don't remember doing that. It must have done it before I left Alabama. So worked quite a bit in that signature. So I am going to include these guys in my Anything Goes pile, so I can grab these for working on. I like working in the signatures. Ooh, go take care of the chickens, 70. Is that Melissa? 70 Melissa? I will try to remember that. Yeah, go take care of those chickens. Bye. So this was going to be part of my group. I like working in the signatures because I can put wet paint on here. I can set it aside, let it dry naturally, and then I can go to a different signature and play in that and not worry about my pages sticking together. So I really like working in signatures. So that's going to be, I have these handy to work in. And just because it's our very first time working in the Anything Goes book, and I'm talking about signatures, I'm going to make a very small signature. Hi, Thelma. It is easy to put pretty stuff on paper. It really is easy, and that's what all this Anything Goes book is going to be about, is you're still scared to start. This is perfect for you, Thelma. This is perfect for you. I get it. I understand the fear of starting. I understand it completely, especially because I tried to do art journaling for a long time and I gave up. And I was just so disappointed with the way my pages were looking. And I just didn't want to do it anymore. It was discouraging. I didn't like what was going on. So I had given it up for a good 10 years. I gave up paper crafting altogether, and I did not go back for the longest time. I did go back a couple of years ago and started doing some things, and I missed the faces. We're going to try to do a face or two today. I missed the faces. And I started playing around and I started doing things, and I came up with something for art journaling that works for me. And this is kind of the process of art journaling that works for me. The number one thing is getting that image of what you expect your page to look like at the end. Get that image out of your head. Get it out of your head. You don't know where you're going when you start an art page. If you do not have something that you're expecting to create, you're going to be pleasantly surprised with what you have at the end, and you're going to like it a whole lot better. That is number one. Number one. So, ooh, a Halloween themed junk journal. Okay, so we're going to learn how to get started and to lose the fear. And I'm doing this book, and I'm going to finish this book, mainly because it is an experimental book. It's getting really fat. And I am showing you the little baby steps it takes to get things on pages and for you to enjoy the process. That's what this is all about, learning how to enjoy doing it and not caring what it ends up looking like. Just get that out of your mind. This is not the purpose. I know I like pretty pages at the end too. I like looking at my pretty pages, but until we get there, we're going to have ugly pages, and it is okay to have ugly pages. It's okay to make mud We're learning. We're learning, okay? Okay, so Thelma says here, she's made, you have an art journal that you made for an Anything Goes book. Yay! It's still blank. Okay, I want to start. Have so many images I would love to see in the Anything Goes book. All right, so we're going to start. I know we've already started it, but we're gonna start from the beginning. Since this is day number 1. Hi, Kathleen. Day number 1 with the Anything Goes book. We have some examples here to use, but we're going to take this and we're going to start again, and you're going to start with me. You're going to start with me, okay? It's only paper, right, Mitzi? It's only paper. It's only a composition book. It's going to get muddy. It's going to wrinkle. The images are going to bleed through to the other side. It's going to be messy. And that is perfectly, wonderfully great. It's fine. That's the way it's supposed to be in the beginning. We're going to get our toes wet. We're not even going to get our feet wet. We're just getting our toes wet here. And we're going to make a mess. We're going to make a mess. I think that this is a pretty ugly mess. I've got things bleeding through. I've got scribbles, and I've got a mess going on. Don't really like it. It's okay. This is the place to experiment and to do that kind of thing. So, talking about signatures, if you are worried about starting in a book, you don't want to do that. You don't want to ruin another book. I get that too, because I've ruined many, many books. Grab one of those ruined books. Start using it. It's already ruined. You're not losing anything. You're not wasting anything. Are you using that book? Are you really? It's already ruined. You've already bought it. You've got it sitting there. Grab it. Let's put some more stuff in it. It doesn't matter anymore if it is ugly, if it's not perfect. What do you have to lose? That's my thing here. So I'm going to make a signature real fast. I'm using a couple book pages, a grid paper that I took out of another piece of another book, and a couple of scrapbook pages, and I am going to make a signature for those people that want to use some better paper. Maybe they've got paper that they want to see how it works. Let's make a signature. Let me fold my pieces again. I only have 5. It's going to be a small signature. I am going to fold them all in half. To put in a signature like that. They're all different sizes. They're all different weights. Some of them are thin. Alrighty, so I folded them in half. I'm going to put them together somehow. Like that. I'm just using regular thread. It's just nothing special thread. I'm going to get a length of the thread and try to thread my needle. I'm doing a 3-hole pamphlet stitch just to keep those papers together in a book form, in a signature, just so I can work on them page by page and the same pages will stay together. Yes, now is the time to get composition books because they're only 50 cents at Walmart. Yes. You have a lot of ugly pages. That is perfectly fine. Okay? Okay. Did I miss anything? Let me go back to chat for just a second. Great, Thelma. Getting your paints out and starting. All right. Hi, Linda. All right. All right. All right, so I start my signature. Let me kind of line up these pages the way I want them. I start the signature in the center. I make a hole in the valley here, go through. I don't measure when I'm just putting signature papers together. I don't measure. I probably won't leave these pages, this thread in at the moment, or after I'm done. I'll probably take the thread out and sew the signatures into another book. So it's just keeping these pages together so I can work on these pages in the book form. So I've got a tail here. I am going to hold on to that tail with my thumb so it doesn't slip through. I'm making another hole, and I like to make my holes through the valley because it's much easier to get to the mountain fold, the mountain part of the fold. Instead of going this way poking my hole, I end up going sideways and not getting the inside the fold on the bottom here. So I'm just poking the hole, and then I'm taking my needle and going in through the mountain part of the fold to the other side. All right? And then we go all the way down to the bottom, anywhere, poking the needle through all the paper and pulling that. So I've got a thread that goes from the top to the bottom. Turn it over and hold on to your tail so it doesn't escape. Turn it over and put the needle in the hole that's got the thread coming out of it where you started. You want to go through that hole and back through the center. Okay? So you've got two tails in the center here, and you've got a thread going from the top to the bottom. You unthread your needle, and you want one tail on one side of that thread that goes from the top to the bottom, and you want the other tail on the other side. So I have to press it over here. And you want that thread that's in the center to go over those tails. Okay, so I have to put this book down because I can't do this in the air. I've tried. It doesn't work real well. So I kind of pull my tails tight enough so that this thread is tight and there's no loops here, but not tight enough so that you're buckling your paper. You just want it firm so that it's not real loose. And then all you do is make a square knot with the tails over that center thread. That's all. It's pretty easy. And then cut off your tails. So you've got a signature to work in. All right, so this is going to be an anything goes little baby signature. And I'm going to put my threads away and stuff. Get a drink. My throat is really dry today. More iced tea. All right. Recycled cards would be a great one for this. You'd have a nice sturdy signature to work on, that's for sure. Perfect, perfect. So, anything goes. The first step for anything that I'm doing, the first step is gluing in pieces of book page, some music pages, some images. I don't have enough in here. I'm probably going to have to do some more of that kind of thing in here. I have them in all different kinds of places. I have some magazine images. I thought I did. I guess I need more magazine images in here. And this book is falling apart. I'm going to worry about it later, so I'm not worried about it now. but that is the first step, is conquering the blank page. Just putting a little bit, and I've got some in here. Here's one where I just put this lady here. I've got some pages on here that are just book pages and such, and I can't find them. So that's where I'm going to start, okay? I am going to start just gluing some pages in, and so that you guys can work together with me. Working together, we're doing it all together, and so let's do that. So I have out here, I grabbed a bunch of, and I munched some of it, putting it in there, a bunch of magazine images, and here are some that I picked for today. Let me get them out here. Let me get them all out here. I picked some people. My camera is set up funny. My whole desk is not showing. I messed around with it, so I need to go back and fix it somehow because it's not quite right. I have some little bits of texture and color. This one's bubbles. I just loved that. I just love the image of it. So I am just going to put it in here somewhere. I've got little bits of things I just caught my eye. Nothing fancy. Here's a little park scene, a piano. This is part of a catalog. I thought that plant in the corner was kind of interesting. Just some interesting little bits and pieces. Not necessarily any focal points, but things that this is part of a tree. I don't necessarily like the words, but it's not going to distract from anything if I put something on top. Hi, Aunt Sandra. So that is that. I found a zebra eye. Isn't that cool? Another piece of catalog. Just some interesting little bits I thought were cool in magazines. I don't know what that was. It must have been an advertisement for houses or something, but I thought that was kind of cool. I just love the look of it, and I liked the color combination. So that's all this is some book pages or some magazine pages. I cut something out of this one and then noticed that there was stuff on the other side, so I thought that I would grab those. So you can see there's nothing special here. There's nothing, I'm not using anything that I want to save, that I want to keep, that I think is really, really, really exciting to me. It's all kind of exciting. When I'm starting out, when you guys are starting out, don't use those very, very precious images yet. Wait till you get the hang of things and know when to add those images so you can see them on top. And we'll get to that. So just use things that catch your eye and that you're not going to be worried about ruining. Things that you like, but not that are really precious to you, okay? So there's some images that I'm going to be using. And I need some book pages. I did not grab book pages, so I am going to take a couple of book pages. From that one and a couple from this one, just so I have some and don't have to go searching for them. And actually, I've got my basket bits down here. I can grab those out. So I've got some book pages. I have my baskets. I don't know why I didn't think about going through my baskets first. So there's a couple more little bits of text. That should be plenty. And then another thing that I like using, oh, I've got some tissue paper bits too. I like using painted papers. I can find my painty papers. Here's some painty papers, some stamped images, some little bits of that. I'm just going to take out a couple little bits. Here's some painted book text. And where are my security envelope bits? There they are. There they are. I'm just going to take out a couple of those, as I love security envelopes. I'm going to take one of those. So I am just grabbing a bunch of stuff to do, just to glue in here. And that's all I'm using. You can tell it wasn't anything really spectacular, nothing really fancy stuff. I'm just trying to use up, and I'm just putting stuff on the pages just so that you don't have blank pages. It gives you some place to start. I am gluing randomly. I'm using my Elmer's Extreme glue stick. Okay. Well, I want it focus. Here it goes. My Elmer's Extreme glue stick. I love my Elmer's Extreme glue stick. I like a glue stick because it's drier. I don't have to wait for it to dry while I'm turning pages. I can go faster. And I'm just ripping off. I guess I don't need to rip off the white parts, but I am just randomly, with no thought, gluing stuff on pages. No thought. Not going to worry about it. Ripping with reckless abandon and just going really fast. So I don't think. Go real fast. Hi, Tammy. And I'm going to do that on a few pages. We're going to do some of these images. I'm going to try to do them in kind of the same area so I can find them all. And here is a catalog. It's got the prices on it. So I don't want all this white, so I'm just taking that off. I'm not going to worry about the prices. That gives me a place that I don't have to think about. I know I usually want to cover up prices and stuff like that. So if I glue that down, and I can probably do that now so I can show you. Glue it down. I like to make sure I get the edges the most. And I use a piece of t-shirt. Any cotton washcloth or anything will work. Let's get it straight. I use a cloth to go from the center out to the edges to get the air bubbles out from underneath what I'm gluing. Okay? It would be helpful if I had a flat surface. And that way your glue will hold your magazine picture, your book page, or whatever on the page and not come up at a later date. So I always make sure that I've got a nice piece of t-shirt I usually use t-shirt. I ripped some t-shirts up here not too long ago. I guess it's been a while now. So I've got these words and prices that I don't really like. So I am going to get a little bit of text out here in some little strips. And my paper is tearing crooked. That's better. And I'm just going to use those little strips to cover up what I don't want to look at. And then I can also cover it up with paint or whatever, but I am just going to do it just like that. Just like that. And then I don't have to look at those words, and I'm going to like it better at the end. Oops. Glue side down, Carla. Glue side down. I want something sideways, I think. Getting glue on my fingers already. So that's what I've got here. Actually, I'm going to put just a little bit more down here. Just to kind of put the page on the page so that it doesn't look like a square. I am putting little bits of book text on the corners and things so it looks like it's incorporated before I even put paint on it. And we'll put one up there too. You know what we could do really fast? We'll use the circle stamp and stamp it. I'm going to stamp it over here really fast. That was terrible. Oh well, I guess it's going to be terrible. And then, oops, circle stamp doesn't want to go away. And then put that on for a little bit of extra interest. Okay, so that's all I'm doing is I'm just adding some book pages and some stuff. Not anything dramatic. Some little bits of color. Some little bits of stamped pages. Some painty pages. Let me go to the next page here. Just glue on some of this stuff. I'm not worried about it matching or anything at this point. Some stamped images that I did a while back. I'll put it over here in the corner. I am trying to put things not always in the center of the pages. I didn't get that glued on real well. And I lost my t-shirt. Here we go. Rub those on. A little bit of book page. Putting that upside down because I really don't want to read the text that's there. Sometimes I will take pages from a novel and pick out different, either a conversation or something that I like the looks of, and I will collage those on. This is just a form of collage. It really is. Nothing really, really different about it. Oh, wow. There's a couple of fans on here. I want that. Ah, I'm going to put the painty page down. Now I've got glue on both sides, but I like the fans. Didn't even know it was there. And I am getting a piece of, or a little baby wipe out, because I had started putting glue on that, and I've got glue on my hands. I'm going to wipe it a little bit so that I get the glue off of there, so my page doesn't glue itself together. I like that. I do. So let me go back to my magazines, my magazine images, and see what I've got here. Here's a piece that I had cut on the back, and I turned it over, and I said, well, that's not too bad. I have to keep that. It's cut up, but still, it's interesting. So let me put that on here somewhere. Should I put it here? Put it there. And I do need to turn my page because that is very gluey. So I'm just going to glue that down. Oops, I ripped it. All the more better. I ripped it. So I'm going to put part of it up there. It wanted to be separate. And part of it down here. Oops, that was my baby wipe. Get it on there. I am going to take this whole most of this. How come it's not tearing correctly? I'm going to use my metal ruler and tear where I want it to tear, like that. And then I'm going to glue that on this whole page here. So I would spend some time in your new Anything Goes book and just add some images and some of these kinds of things so that you have something on the pages before we get started. Oh, do I want that part of face or do I want that color? I like this face. I like the face. I am going to put that face on here. Randomly. Sorry. I have to get used to, got to remind myself that I'm further in than I should be. I don't know why I'm so far in. And I will have to fix that by Tuesday. So thanks everyone for being here for my first Sunday. Is it my first Sunday? I think it is. And I'm just going to layer that on top of that. What else do I have? 4 book pages. There, I've got another girl Where did I do with my scissors? And actually I'm going to use, I'm going to use my ruler again so I can rip that off. So she's all ripped and ready to go. I like her. Oh, well, that's interesting. Got to rip that off too. And I'll just rip it randomly. That's a nice little piece right there. Surprise, surprise. I get 2 images for the price of 1. Alrighty, so I'm going to put those in here. I need another space. It's too white. She would look good over there, though. I'm going to put her right there. I am going to put her right there on top of that other stuff. What did happen to my glue stick? Uh-oh. I lost the glue stick. What happened to it? Here it is. Here it is. I found it. Hi, Laura. I kind of got involved there for a bit. So that is the first part. It's easy to start with that. If you're having trouble to start just adding some images that you like, but not are in absolute love with. You don't want to ruin anything yet. You don't want to get yourself discouraged. So that's what I would do first, is just randomly go in and add some stuff. Next thing we're going to do, where did those pages go? They were just here. I didn't go very far, did I? There they are. So I've got a few pages started with a little bit of this and a little bit of that. It doesn't have to be a lot. It doesn't have to be a lot. So let me get some of this stuff out of the way and close up my glue for now. And of course I didn't do anything in my new little signature either. Getting too many things going at one time, I think. So the next thing might be adding some stamped images. We all have stamps. We all have rubber stamps that we've gotten and we never seem to use. I did a whole video, a whole stream on handmade stamps. So I am grabbing out, I should show you my little basket here. I've got a basket with my little handmade doohickeys and thingamajigs and whatchamacallits, and some stencils, some found stencils. So let me grab out some of those things. There's my toy box. It's my toy box. So I've got a bunch of that kind of thing. And I am just going to randomly do some stamping in here. Let's just add some stamps. And you can add images as well. Here's the fish. Let's put a fish in here. I haven't used the fish in here yet. We all have stamps, rubber stamps that we have. We love them. We bought them. Do we ever use them? Or do we use them enough? I don't use mine enough. So let's see if I can get a decent stamped image. And the thing of it is, it doesn't have to be a decent image. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm learning how to stamp. I probably need to put something underneath this so that it works correctly. That one didn't, so I'm just going to have to put an eyeball on top of it or something. But it's okay. I'm not worried about things not turning out. It's just a play. I don't really, it is hard to get over the perfectionist. I'm going to try this again and see if putting something underneath it helps it a little bit. It did a little bit. It's much better. So now I know next time, put something underneath, and I'm going to write myself a little note. I'm writing notes in my book, so I know what to do next time. When stamping, when using a rubber stamp, put a flat surface underneath. And then I'm going to put a little arrow so that next time I will understand I need to do that. I will remember, okay? Write yourself notes. Write yourself some notes. I'm going to use this little guy and maybe not that one. Maybe some purple. This is the kind of ink that goes through the book. So I'm just going to do a little bit of stenciling, a little bit of stamping, a little bit of stenciling. Just adding some color. Here and there on the pages. It doesn't have to be perfect. But just something. Okay. Just having some fun. That's all we're doing today, definitely. We're just starting out now. And I love that drainer too. It's a sink. It's a sink drainer. That's all it is. But it makes wonderful polka dots. Polka dots. It polka dots everything. So I've got some washers or some O-rings. I'm not sure exactly what those are. I am not a plumber. I know they're plumbing supplies, but and I'm probably going to spend the day just working in this book and not working in the other ones just because we're starting out. Next time, maybe I'll work in the signatures. And so I'm just going to stamp my little circles. In various places. Alrighty. So adding stamps is a great way just to add some stuff. There's a circle stamp. Maybe I'll use this one. And I kind of want to do something that's not quite so black. This stamp pad here is dying. So it's not, I don't know if it's going to give me any color at all. Let's see if we can get some color out of it. Not really. It's really dying. It's really, really dying. So let's just pat it a little bit with this one. See what happens. Just see what happens. Hi, Crafty Samarta. Your first live video? Oh, welcome, welcome. I feel like I need one right in the center there. And maybe something over here. Trying to take off some of that ink now. Give me some ghost images. See, it's starting to look fun, and I haven't really done anything to this. I haven't really done a lot, but it's already starting to look interesting, right? And that's only 3 steps. We've added some magazine images and some book pages, some random little bits, and then we stamped a little bit over the top of it. It's all about layering. It's all about adding a little bit of interest. I have no idea where I'm going with this page, what I'm going to do next, but I don't have an image in my head about what I should put next. That is key. It really makes a big, big difference. Okay? So that is that. I need to go back to my list for all those beginners. It needs shimmer now. We haven't done anything to any of these other pages yet. It needs shimmer. I want to start with basics. I want to start with things that everybody has. It needs a little shimmer. All right, it needs a little shimmer. One of the next things that I like to do on random bits of paper, sometimes blank and sometimes over some of the stuff I've done, is to use acrylic paint. I'm just going to use a plastic lid for some pure gold metallic acrylic paint. I'm just going to put some out there. And I am going to take I found some old Borders cards. Can you believe it? Borders has been closed at least 5 years. And this is probably when I worked there. I'm just going to dip my edge into the paint and put a little bit of shimmer for the shimmer likers. And I'm just scraping paint over the whole thing randomly. The only thing I don't like about acrylic paint is I really need it to be dry before I turn the page. Or before you do a whole lot of anything else to it. All right. So there's some shimmer. And there are many ways to add shimmer to a page. We're turning out, we're getting, we're getting a nice page, but, you know, I don't know where to go with this. I'm liking the way it is starting out, the way it's turning out. There's nothing about this that I don't like. I never expected it to be like this, But I am going to turn the page as soon as it's dry. Is it dry? Kind of is. I got it really thin, so it's going to dry quickly. But I'm going to turn a page and do a little bit of something on a different page. If I don't finish a page right away, I like the page better. If I do a little bit of something and then I'll come back another time and add a little bit more something. You like the way I used all the paint? I put just a little dab of paint on my palette because I didn't want to use a lot. So my paint dries up pretty quickly. I'm in Florida. It's hot here. It dries up pretty quickly. So I just a little dab because I just wanted a little dab of shimmer for the shimmer shouter outer. You know who you are. So that is, I'm going to stop there. This is definitely is not done. I've got more things to add. Not sure exactly what or how far I want to go with it, but I am going to go and I'm going to start working on this page a little bit more. Let's add some more stuff to this. Now I may add, oh, it started to rain again. Is it dark in here for you guys? Are you guys okay? I'm going to add a little bit more book page on top of the stamps and stuff. One of the things that I noticed for myself, I am always afraid to put things on top of things that I've put down. It's called layering. I'm not the best at it yet, so I'm still practicing to be able to do that. I have this mentality, if I spent the time to put something on here, why am I covering it up? And I know I'm not alone with that either. So we're just going to cover it up with some other stuff. We're going to add that, maybe some scrapbook paper. I thought I had some scrapbook paper out. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just going to use some tissue paper. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to use some tissue paper. This tissue paper has a little bit of paint on it. And you know what I'm going to do first? I'm going to scrape just a little bit of paint. What color should I use? I should probably use some purple or some red. A little bit. What is this? This is flamingo red. All right, we'll do a little bit of that. Just a tad. We'll do it with a credit card so that I can get it real thin and it'll dry. I should probably put a little bit of wax paper between my pages, but I am going with reckless abandon. Yeah, I didn't see the purple right away. The red came out. The red came out. Sorry. I should have done purple, but the red came out. And I've got a little bit left on my palette there, so I'm squeezing it out to use that last little bit. All right. So then I am going to add another piece of tissue paper somewhere. I am going to put a little bit of glue on my tissue paper, and tissue paper is really fragile when it's wet, when it's got glue on it, so got to be a little careful with it. And I am going to put that right there. Use my t-shirt to rub it in. I do put my t-shirt pieces in the wash machine sometimes, often. And you know what I'm gonna do? I am gonna stamp some circles on this tissue paper, like that. Clean off my stamp. And then glue this little piece of tissue paper on the page. Like that. You like when I say a tad? If you're talking to me in the live chat, hi Shelly. If you're talking to me, if you want to get my attention, please put your question or your comment in capital letters. I see it better. There's a lot of chat going on, and a lot of times I miss it. If it's in capital letters, I know you're talking to me, and I will notice it. It'll be more likely for me to notice it. Okay? So yes, a tad, a smidgen, a little tiny bit. Those are some of the words I use, definitely. Definitely. And I've got a little bit of book page here that I'm just going to put on top, right there. Yay for the circles. We like the circles. So we're just building up and doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I like tissue paper. Okay, that was too big of a piece. I wanted a little piece. Thank you very much. Thank you. Maybe this long piece. That would be fun to work with too. It's too long for my book here. I'm just going to put these 3 little pieces of red tissue down. We're just working, and I have nothing in mind. I'm not trying to accomplish anything by doing any of this. I am going to cover up my little fish eyeball because I didn't get the eye all stamped very well, so I'm just going to cover it up. I can re-stamp it maybe. He didn't turn out, so I'm just going to cover him up. Oh well. That's all there is to that. Just adding a little color. I like tissue paper because it kind of, you can see through it when it gets glued down, and it kind of blends your page together in a way. See, you can see the circles kind of underneath it, and it just adds a little bit of something. I have to be real careful with tissue paper though. Yes, circles. Yes, yes, yes. And I want this last little piece on because I like things in 3s, you know. Gotta have everything done in 3s. Uh-oh. And I didn't get glue on that very well. So it's a little messy. We're gonna put it in the crease, in the crevice there. All right. So we've got some tissue paper on there. I feel like it needs more. I don't know if I'm ready to leave this page quite yet. It seems like it needs maybe a little purple. Should I find some purple shimmer paint? Let's see what we got here. Oh, the next one out of the bin is the purple metallic. Alrighty, just a tad, a smidgen, a tiny little bit. And you know, this time I am going to add this paint with a wet one. It's still pretty wet. So I am just going to dab my wet one and just rub it on the page. And I might need a little bit more paint for this because it didn't go far enough. I like the way this is looking. When you use a wet one, especially a moist wet one, you're adding water to the paint. When you add water to acrylic paint, you are making it a little transparent. Depends on how much water you add to it. So you can still see things underneath. Can you see all the shimmer, shimmer, shine? Can you see it? I love purple and red together. I'm a crazy person. All right. So let me get it focused again. Thank you. So this is turning out, it's a little messy. it's a little crazy. And it's pretty much dry, so I can turn the page. But I don't want to finish the page at this point. I'm just playing. I've done enough on this page. I'm trying to make sure it's all dry here so I can turn the page. Do I have some wax paper just in case? I just don't want the pages to stick together. I'm liking this one. I like this one a lot. So here we are with this one. So what should we do with this one? I like the trees and stuff. So I am going to stamp. I think I'm going to stamp a tree. Let's stamp a tree. And I think I'm going to do it in, I'm going to put this underneath it so it stamps well. I am going to do it in black so it shows up. Putting something underneath. I had planned on doing other stuff in this book today, but it is a good idea. I'm putting a little signature underneath so I can get it stamped correctly. And that looks pretty good. I think I want another one over here. I don't know why. I'm going to line it up, put it over here. I was going to do some more collaging and stuff today, but we had a lot of people saying that they're having a hard time starting their books, so we went back to the beginning. So we've got plenty of time to do some of these other things I have planned. I want to make sure that this is kind of dark. And I am going to stamp right there. Boy, it's really raining outside. There we go. There we go. So there's a tree. Tree, tree, tree. And we've got this leaf stamp. And we'll probably need, you know what we're going to do? Ha 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 ha. We are going to use handmade stamp and use some of these Delusions paint. Which one should I use? Maybe a white and maybe this weird green. That will go right on this page. I guess it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to get a clean brush out. If I can find a clean brush. I've got my water over here. And I am going to get my brush just slightly damp. And I'm going to use the white first. Uh-oh, if I ever use the white, my white seems to be stuck. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. I'm echoing. Why am I echoing? Did that happen all of a sudden? Have I been echoing all along, or it just happened? Is it better now? Is it still echoing? Just happened when I was doing other stuff? That's weird. Is it still working? Is it still echoing? I didn't do anything to the computer. I don't understand why. Huh. I didn't bump the mic. I didn't touch anything. If I had bumped the mic, it would have wiggled. You would have noticed. The table was shaking when it... My mic is not attached to the table. Shoot. Shoot me. Sorry, trying to figure out what could have happened. So this is not attached to anything. If I was reaching for that, it would not have gotten to my mic. Well, that's rotten. Wow. Why is it echoing? I don't understand how it would be echoing. Well, I was reaching down. My mic is right up here. The mic and the camera are one. So I didn't touch that. The computer is way over there, so I don't think I touched the computer. That is odd. A poltergeist. Yes, it was a poltergeist. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen to me for sure. I don't know. I don't know what it could be. I didn't touch anything. Wow. Sorry, guys. I don't like it when it does stuff like that. I understand. I'm going to keep going, but I'm trying to see if I can figure out. Maybe that will help. Let me know if that solved anything, please. Let me know. Let me know. I am going to use this paintbrush in this Delusions paint. In the meantime, I am just going to brush on some paint to this homemade stamp. That is odd. It's fine. That's it. That was it. I just turned off something that has been on the entire time, so I don't understand why all of a sudden it decided it wanted to do that. I don't know. Okay, so it's fine now. All right. All right. Yay. So I'm using some of this white paint, and I am brushing it on my stamp here. And it's leaving some white leaves on the trees and other stuff. And it's just white, so maybe I should think about using some. I don't like this green. I'm like looking at this green and I'm not so sure I want to use that. Not so sure. You liked the echoing? Ah. Ah. You guys are silly. Silly. That is funny because I did not touch the computer. I don't know why all of a sudden it would do it. Don't know why, but if it's going to happen to anyone, it'll happen to me. It's weird that it just would start just all of a sudden like that. So there is some white. And I don't want to do this green. I don't know why, but well, let's just do the green. Let me get, where's my lid? Here's my lid. I'm just going to put a little bit of this green so I don't contaminate the whole container. I'm just going to scoop out a little bit of green and put it on here. And I'm going to get my other little Anything Goes book out here. And I'm going to scrape some paint. That's another thing to do on blank pages. I've got plenty of this paint that I want to use. So I am just going to use it up. Off my palette knife and just scrape it on and let it dry. And go back to it another time, but I don't want all this paint or any of this paint to go to waste. So that's all I'm doing is I'm scraping some paint on here. And maybe some of this white leaf will show up. Not really. Just a little bit, and I'm just going to let it. Crazy lady, she liked the echoing. All right. Echoing is gone. All right. All right. So I'm just going to put that over there and let that dry. All right. So I am going to use this brush again, and I'm going to brush some green leaves. I've got lots of paint here I'm going to have to use on something. Too much paint. So I am just enjoying just doing something. It's kind of nice to sit and brush paint on the stamp. Not really worried about placement or what it's going to look like or anything at all. Just random, just randomness. And so all I can say for those people afraid to start adding some magazine images that strike your eye. And I'll show you how I clean it after I'm finished using it. I'll show you what I'm going to do. I will show you exactly how I clean it because I do not like having paint on any of my stamps. When I'm done with them, I like them to be, try to get in the crevice of this book here. I like them to be clean. I don't want paint on stuff. I'm not a big fan of acrylic paints. It's too messy for me. I do use it because it's the only way to get it done a certain way. But they're not my favorites. I would rather do watercolors or something like that. So couple more and I'll show you how I clean my stamps, and then I'll figure out how to use up the rest of this weird lime green paint. I think that's enough stamps. Okay, so I just use a clean baby wipe to clean off my stamps. Just a clean baby wipe, that's it. That's all. As simple as that. I use a lot of baby wipes and I'm running low and I should have gotten some more, but I didn't. So I just take a baby wipe, and this is just on a piece of cardboard, and I just, using a clean part of the baby wipe, kind of clean it and get it in the crevices. Takes a little bit of time, but it saves making the stamp over again and having stuff inside. Pretty much that's all I do. That is it. Just like that. It is, it's a weird green. It's that Delusions, what's it called? Fresh lime. It's fresh lime, so it's kind of, it's a green I don't normally use. We'll say it that way. I don't normally use this color. It is a little strange, but it looks good I can see it in the camera there. It doesn't look as light. It looks like a normal green on camera, but it it looks a little strange in person. It's just a little lighter than that. It's a little more lime green-ish. So I need to use up the rest of that paint, and I am gonna put this aside for a second and let it dry. And I'm gonna grab out some signatures and use up this paint. Find a place for the paint. That looks like a good place. Cat Hand has a book that she calls the Composition Book of Unwasted Paint, and that is a great way to use up bits of paint that you've got that you don't know what to do with. I have, and I probably should have them out. I'm going to use a baby wipe and try to get this a little thinner, I think. Smooth it out a little thinner. I have, what I use is these signatures. I have signatures up here, and I use them like under papers. Here's a great place that needs a little bit more paint. But these are just things that I put underneath other papers so I can get all the way to the edge. And then I have these pages. Of course, I have to work in signatures, but I have these pages of all this color that I will be putting into a book when it gets ready. Now, I've got 4 signatures so far that I've been using. Oh, there's one that needs a little bit of color to it. But that's what I do with my paint, is I put them in the signatures. This is my unwasted, clean a stamp off kind of place. So I am going to use this and put that last little bit of paint on this page. I can't let anything go to waste. Absolutely nothing. All the color has to be saved in some kind of way. Yes, I love shimmer. Shimmer is good. Shimmer, shimmer. And I'm just going to put that someplace to let it dry too. And this one is almost dry because I made it so thin. No waste yet, no waste. You like limey green, but not Christmas green. Christmas green is a little dark. I like green. It's not one that I go for a lot. Don't know why. Probably should use it a little bit more. Okay, so now I've got this out here, and it's mostly dry. I am going to use another one of my little O-ring washer thingies. And I think I will use my black and just stamp some circles down. So in the Anything Goes book, I'm going to throw that away because that's really wet and green and not doing anything any good. Anybody any good? You've been using freezer paper? Oh, your walls are that color? Wow. That's brave. I don't know if I could, I don't know. I don't know. I guess it must just be me, huh? That's funny. This is fun. So Anything Goes. We're starting from the start. Add some book pages. What time are we getting? We're getting to be about where we need to stop. That time went fast. Part of it was me trying to figure out why I was echoing, huh? So, and this is why I use these little signatures here. Let's see if I can find a place that needs a little something, something. We'll use this one. Because I put them underneath when I'm doing stuff like this, so I can get to the edges and the corners and not get my craft mat underneath all inky and dirty. I haven't used these in a little bit, so it's about time I started using them again. Uh-oh. Give me a sec. Here we go. All right. Yes, this is one of my homemade O-ring on a piece of cardboard with a piece of tape for a handle. It's just two O-rings put together. I had a question and I don't know if I answered it yet. I'm a little behind on answering my comments and things. I've been trying to get some stuff done. Somebody asked if I could make a circle stamp with the O-rings. Now here's the deal with the O-rings. They are different heights. The smaller ones are really skinny, and the bigger you get, the higher it goes. I wanted to try that, but I didn't have time. I haven't had time yet to investigate, but I have to put little pieces of cardboard to raise each ring just the right amount so that they all will connect to the paper. And I tried doing it once, and after an hour of trying to figure out a little bit less here, a little bit more there, you know, I just couldn't spend any more time on it. But that is the reason I don't use the O-rings for that, because it's so fussy. I just love that. Look how cool that is. It's so fussy to do. I have plans. I've got plenty of different sizes to try that with, but it's going to take some working, and I just haven't had a chance to do that yet. So I've got a Q-tip out here, and I think I'm just going to play around with this page since I've got it out. I think what I'm going to do is use my dish drain. Yes, a lot of people have tried that. It doesn't work real well. It takes a long time. I haven't figured out how to fix the problem yet. And like I said, I haven't had a chance to, I haven't had time to do a whole lot of that kind of thing. Okay, so Q-tip is not working. I think I'll use one of these things. This is a cotton bit. Actually, I'll use a makeup sponge. I'll use the makeup sponge. There we go. That's working a lot better. Put a little bit of paint on it. Munch it down so I don't have too much paint. Yeah, circles. Teal and lime green. Not too bad. It's a little strange. A little bit. I've got too much paint on that one. Too much paint. I've got some paint on the other side. It's leaking through. So that's all we're doing. We're just playing a little bit. So 50s, it kind of is, isn't it? The teal and lime green is a very 50s combination. Yeah. Oops. What are you going to do? It really is. I hadn't thought about that beforehand. Oh well. So for those people just starting out their books today, got a few days, got a week. We're not going to play in the Anything Goes book again until next week. I would suggest getting started with some of the fun things that I did today. Add some book pages, add some scrapbook paper scraps, add some magazine images, add some music, add some tickets, add some little bits of this and that, all over in your book, so you're surprised when you come across it. I've got paint here that I'm trying to use up. The second thing to do would to be do some random stamping. Just get out either focal point stamps or pattern stamps, stencils even, and put some of that stuff in there. Just random. Again, it can be on top of some of the stuff you already have in there. It can be on separate sheets, whatever you want to do. But just give yourself some time. Put quite a bit in. It's very relaxing just to glue little bits and pieces in and not worry about finishing a page. And then if you still have some more time on your hands, I'm going to put this in water so I can clean it off and use it later. My water is off camera. If you still have some time and you still want to do a little bit of play, hi Eva, then you can start scraping some paints in just on random pages. Kind of like we did here. Scrape some paint on. Use up some paint. It can be on blank pages, over some of the other things that you did. Kind of just adding some color here and there. And I'm running out of places to put things to dry. Yep, it can go over images and book pages and just anything. Oops, that one was still wet. Okay, just scrape some paint in, add some color. It can be anything. It can be watercolors if you've got watercolors. It can be acrylic paints, the Delusions paints. It can be anything, anything that you have, anything at all. All right. And I've come back to this page. Still, no, it's pretty dry. Is it? Yep, it's dry. I have some watercolors here. You know what I'm going to do first? I think I'm going to do some stenciling. Some stenciling. Do some stenciling. Do I have a stencil somewhere where I can grab it? Of course not. This is a good place to practice. If you're not a good stenciler, this is a good place to practice stenciling. I've got a little checkerboard one here. I'm just going to add some random checkerboard bits and pieces here and there. With a makeup sponge and an ink pad so it's all nice and dry. And I'm going over some places that I did stamping and going over book pages and magazine pages and just randomness. very random, just in some places here and there, just like that. And I use makeup sponges a lot for my stuff, and I just use a rubber band and keep the same makeup sponge with my ink pad, and then I won't be contaminating ink pads using the same sponge, and then I'm not wasting sponges throwing them away. They're still good. The ink does not get hard or anything, so they're still good for a very, very long time. I've not had to throw one away yet, but I keep the ink pads together with their sponge so I can use them later. Yeah, that's fun. That's some fun layering here. Okay, now I've got some watercolor paint. This is a paint in a tube, and what I'm going to do is put a little bit on my lid here, and I am not going to add any water to it. I'm going to use my palette knife and just scrape that paint around just to add some pink. I'm not done with this page. I'm going to leave it for now, but now I've scraped all my paint off. And I'm going to let that dry and go away from it, and then come back and add some more stuff later. Figure out something else to do with it. So I'm done right now with that. So this is what this whole thing is. Thank you guys. Thank you. I'm organized. I like to have things where I can see them so I can work with stuff. And so we've done, quite a few pages today, just playing around, not really doing a whole lot of anything. Nothing serious for sure. We didn't even do anything here. Got a few more minutes, so maybe we should, I'll put the wax paper in between there so it doesn't smear and all that stuff. And maybe we should do something here while we're here. Let's see what we haven't done yet. We haven't used some peach paint. I'm just going to put some there. And I haven't used a paintbrush yet. So I've got a wet paintbrush here. And I'm just going to randomly brush some color over this page. So these are basic some things to do if you're just getting started. We kind of went back to square one again. Hope you don't mind. So that was peach. Let me add a little bit of pink now. I'm just going to brush it in places. And I am going to spritz this. I've got a spritzer here. I'm going to spritz this piece of plastic with some water, and I am going to munch it down and see what happens, because I've never done this before. Add some water after the fact and see what happens. I should probably have used a sponge. And that is interesting. Got a blob of paint right here. There we go. So I'm kind of thinned out that paint. I should put purple on it. You like purple almost as much as I do, don't you, Penny? Bye, Samara. So I am thinning out that paint a little bit. Okay, and then I think what I'm going to do is I've got, this might be too much pink, but I got a little spray. And some polka dot stencil. And just make some polka dots there. And I am going to take this stencil and I am just going to put it in the book right there, just like that, and I'm just going to forget about it. This is ink, it's not going to stick. So I'm not going to worry about it. And that kind of cleans off the stencil. I think it needs a little bit of something else. So I am going to put some gold on my lid here. And what do I have? I'm going to use my spread it around a little bit so it's nice and thin. I'm going to use my little 9-patch O-rings, and I'm going to add some gold on top, like that. Just like that. So it's getting to be a crazy, crazy page. And I've got some gold here, and I'm just going to wipe it off on this page. And I'm going to wipe that off on this page too. Can't have anything go to waste. Nothing go to waste. So that's pretty much how I deal with that. And then take the paint off my little O-rings while they're still wet. And it's good to go for the next time. Thank you, Muriel. It is about time. Well, we still have just a couple more minutes. But here we are. Ooh, look at that shimmer. You can even see it on the camera. Wow. So we're going to come back and play with this page some more, because I'm liking how it's turning out. So we did quite a bit. So see, and now my stencil is clean. There's no more ink on the stencil because it is over here. And I didn't waste any of that was on the stencil. I've got something interesting going on over here. So we can come back to that later as well. So we did quite a bit today. I'm going to have to let that dry. But we did, oops, it's starting to stick a little bit. We did quite a bit. That's a crazy page. We're going to have to do some more to that. We're going to have to do some more to that. So I hope I gave you some ideas to start your book. Lose the fear. Do something in a book that you don't care about. Start out in a book you do not care about. Start off in a signature. A signature of some book pages and anything that you're not concerned about losing. If it doesn't turn out, throw it away. No big deal. start putting some book pages in and some images, scrape some paint, do some stamping, just basic stuff. I'm gonna have to leave this page because it's smearing if I turn it. We don't want it smeared. Not smeared. So those are the basic, anything goes, anybody can do types of things to start out with. Not very much fear involved in those kinds of things. If you take baby steps and just start out and start adding a little bit of this and a little bit of that, it's easier to start that way. It's a little less intimidating. My hands are horrible. You have to, when I do my videos, you can see how horrible my hands are. I apologize for that. It is a less intimidating if you take little baby steps and do a little bit of this and a little bit of that and get used to doing, just gluing images in. If that's all you do all week long, just gluing images in, that's all you need to do. If you got a little bit further and added a little bit of paint, good for you, but it's not required. It's not required. Next week we're going to be doing some other stuff. I've got lists. We're going to be repeating some of the things we did before for those people that are just starting out so that we can do it together. We'll repeat some of those things, but that is the best way to start anything. Add some images, add some book pages, add some scrapbook paper, put some scraped paint down, do some watercolor paint, just add some color. Scrape it all in there, not a big deal. Just add anything that you have. Don't go out and buy anything new. And then on top of that, or underneath, or in between, some stamping and maybe some stenciling with any stamps that you have. So, this page is dry now with my little polka dots. So I'm putting my under paper away. Here's another one in one of my signatures, my Anything Goes signatures. It's still a little wet, so we're going to do some more with that later. And this one also is dry. It is also one of my under signatures. Putting that away. And then we did a page in this book a little bit. We just added some paint in this one. No big deal. We didn't get a whole lot done today. But like I said, all you need to do is add a little bit of something. I mean, you can add a little bit of faces. We're going to be working with faces. I had a lot of comments saying that they wanted to do the faces. So here's just a piece of magazine picture with a tree stamp on it and a book page. That's all that is. It's looking pretty cool already, and I really haven't done a whole lot to it. Okay? So, baby steps. Here is a book page and some stamps. Yeah, you just got your notice. I've been here for 2 hours, a little bit more than 2 hours. And 70 Acre Studio, 70 as in 70 Acres Studio, is live streaming today at 7 p.m. Eastern. So that tree stamp, this tree stamp, I got that. Where'd I get that? I got it recently. So, I mean, that's all this is, but it's turning out really, really interesting. We're going to be doing more on top of that kind of thing. Here's some more. Book page, stamps, stencils, and I just took a pen and did some loose circles. We're gonna investigate mark making real soon. That's coming up. We were gonna do that today, but we needed to backtrack just a little bit. So we're gonna start doing that. Another piece of Japanese book page. It's Japanese. It doesn't want to focus, but it is. So all I've done is gone in here and just put some random little bits of this and that. This was just a book or a magazine image that I did scrape some paint on and did some stenciling on. So it's fun to have just a little bit in your book to layer against other things. So that's all it is. Here's a page that I did a little bit of stenciling and a little bit of scraping, and that's it. We're going to add more stuff. None of these pages are done. We're just adding stuff as we go. Some foam stamps. Here's another one. Book page, some stamps, that drain stencil, and some scraped paint. But you can see that it's starting to get very interesting. Scraped paint, that's Delusions paint, and some of my handmade stamps on top. Really simple, really easy. Go on to the next page. So that is your homework, people. That's your homework. Get your books. Get any books. Get your signatures together, whatever you're going to use. And start doing just those simple, simple things. Nothing to think about. There's no right way to do it. There's no rules. You don't have to do any or all of those. It's just a place to start. And then we're going to do some more different stuff next week at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday is the Anything Goes book Sunday. Happy dance. So thank you everyone for being here and playing along. Hope to see you next week. I am live streaming on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern as well. We'll be working on something else on Tuesday. Happy dance, happy dance. We like the happy dance. We'll be working on something else. I don't know exactly what yet. I've got so many things going that I'll figure it out probably Tuesday morning. But I'm leaving the Anything Goes book for Sundays only. Sundays is Anything Goes book day. So we're going to do other stuff in the Anything Goes book on Sunday. So it will be a regular thing. Hope to see you next week. Hope to see you. Isn't that pretty? Kathleen says that sparkle is just beautiful, and I think so too. Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you. Mahalo. Are you from Hawaii? I said it right. Kahila. Kiala. So we'll be working in this book and the other books too. So hope to see you. If you're watching a recording, hope to see you at a live stream sometime. If you can't make it to live streams, thank you for watching the recordings. I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you so much. Have fun with your Anything Goes books. Bye.